धारे। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रामयी जय सुदर्शन। जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव। जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय। जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाकचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की समवेत भक्त वृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। अष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 39. नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधर त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणविलक्षितैः। नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधर त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणविलक्षितैः। नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधर त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणविलक्षितैः। स्वलक्षणविलक्षितैः। नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधर त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणविलक्षितैः। नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधर त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणविलक्षितैः। नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधर त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणविलक्षितैः। नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं तत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणविलक्षितैः। नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधर अंकिता भाति स्वलक्षणविलक्षितैः। Word to word meaning. No, not. Yam, this land of our kingdom. Shobhishyate, will appear beautiful. Tatra, then. Yatha, as it is now. Idanim, how. Gadadhara, O Krishna. Tvat, your. Padai, by the feet. Ankita, marked. Bhati, is dazzling. Swalakshana, your own marks. Vilakshitai, by the impressions. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O Gadadhara Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be so. Please repeat. O Gadadhara, Krishna. Our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be so. There are certain particular marks on the feet of the Lord which distinguish the Lord from others. The marks of a flag, thunderbolt, and instrument to drive an elephant, umbrella, lotus disc, etc., are on the bottom of the Lord's feet. These marks are impressed upon the soft dust of the land where the Lord traverses. The land of Hastinapur was thus marked while Lord Sri Krishna was there with the Pandavas. And the kingdom of the Pandavas thus flourished by such auspicious signs. Kunti Devi pointed out these distinguished features and was afraid of ill luck in the absence of the Lord. Om Ajnanatimrandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Come you all on this Sunday morning program. So I seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas assembled here before I speak. So this prayer of Queen Kunti, we are seeing how attached Mother Kunti is to the lotus feet of the Lord. And she is expressing fear that, after you leave, then he's not leaving the world. He's just leaving only Hastinapur. And she is expressing fear and, ill luck. So that is how, attached Mother Kunti is. Generally, the tendency is if a superior is not there, it's somebody who is not habituated to being under the control, then it becomes a party time for him. Whether it is a boss in the office or superior in the temple, then we will let go ourselves free. There's nobody to check us. So that tendency is there, especially if somebody is not properly trained. But Kunti Maharani is very eager to have the association of the Lord, and she does not want to let go of him. So she's saying that the Lord's lotus feet, it's marked all the auspicious symbols on the signs on the lotus feet of the Lord, which we are going to discuss today. We are going to talk about mainly the theme of this class will be about the 19 symbols on the lotus feet of Krishna, and what it represents, and how we can meditate on it. If time permits, Radharani's lotus feet, without which it's incomplete. But if possible, if not, should not be a problem. So, so Mother Kunti is, saying in the next verse also, she is saying that Ime Janapada Sfriddha Svupakpaushadi Virudha Vanadrinadyudanvanto Edante Tava Vikshitai. So all these Janapada, all the towns and villages where the population is there, they are all flourishing, and all the herbs, plants, plantation, grains, fruits, everything is flourishing. Then Panadri Nadi Udanvanto He Edante Tava Vikshitai. So all the the rivers, and so all the rivers, seas, and the mountains, they are all flourishing with the wealth which is provided by Mother Earth, who is known as Vasundhara. So it's because of the presence of the Supreme Lord. So not only when the Lord is present, that everything is flourishing, but also when pure devotees who are ruling the planet, like Yudhishthir Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, so any dharmic king, one who is a Naradeva, who is representing the Supreme Lord, even when he is present, everything is actually flourishing, even in the absence of the physical presence of Supreme Lord. Like Yudhishthir Maharaj time, it is mentioned in Bhagavatam. Kamam Vavarsha Parjanya Sarva Kama Dugamahi Shishichu Sma Vrajangava Payasodhasvatir Muda. So all the desires of the public was fulfilled, simply beginning with the rain. So because of the rains, appropriate rains, which happens only in the night, not during the daytime. So all the grains, everything is growing, everything is flourishing. There are jewels in the oceans. So Kamam Vavarsha Parjanya, and then Sarva Kama Dugamahi. It satisfies all the desires of the living entities. What are the desires, material desires of living entities? They want to be happy. They want to have sufficient grains. They want to have jewels. They want to be comfortable. So all these material desires are also fulfilled when the ruling king is a devotee of the Lord. So Shishichu Sma Vrajangava Payasodhaspatir Muda. So even the ground was moistened by the milk from the udder of mother cow. So that was the situation, because the cow can give milk only when it is very happy. And what to speak of, even you don't even have to milk. The ground is becoming, moistened just by the milk flowing from the udders of the cow. So that is how even, the opulence which Yudhishthir Maharaj had was equal to that of Indra. So that is how it is. So here Kunti Maharani is praying that, now the impressions on your lotus feet, they appear so beautiful that, it will no longer be beautiful if you leave. Initially also, Mother Kunti is praying, Namaha Pankaja Nabhaya, Nama Pankaja Maline, Nama Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajangarahe. So she glorifies everything about the Lord is all lotus, lotus. Like they say in Hindi, Dil Bag ho gaya, Dil garden ho gaya, like that. Everything about the Lord is all lotus, lotus. So, but she does not begin from the lotus feet. She begins with other limbs, and then she comes to the end of the lotus feet. She is she does not want to embarrass. That's what is written. She does not want to embarrass the Lord. because she is senior in age. She is Bua, that is Mausi, and does not look good to glorify somebody in senior in age in front of others, that you're the Supreme Lord. So she could sense certain amount of embarrassment in Lord. So so she was very sensitive, to how the Lord feels. So she does not, come directly. She does not begin with the lotus feet. So even in among devotees also, devotees generally, if they are glorified, then they feel very embarrassed. So they want to, they avoid. But somebody who's very sensitive, he can identify. He's seeing somebody is very embarrassed by glorification. He will try to avoid glorifying him, because that will make him peaceful, because he is not comfortable. He's very embarrassed. Generally that doesn't happen. Usually, we are eager, who will glorify me, or first arti is coming to me. So I am, if somebody, if by chance it doesn't come to me, then I'm like, no, who's that fellow who is more senior than me, that the arti is gone to him. So something like that. Generally that is not the case, but if the devotee is feeling like that, then that is a different story. So, but yes, a genuine devotee feels embarrassment. He's not eager to hear his glorification. He avoids. So we have to be sensitive. We have to understand it. But our brains are so complicated now, that even one can imitate being embarrassed, because you get glorified that, oh, he's so embarrassed, by you know he's so embarrassed by glorification. So very subtle. These are all very subtle anarthas. So Kunti Maharani is glorifying everything about the Lord as uh, Pankaja. So Pankajangri. So Angri, the word Angri, Sanskrit is very beautiful word, language, where Angri stands for uh, Anga Grihita. So that which is holding the body. So Angri. So the legs are the ones which are holding the body. So there are many other words also. Pada Pankaja. Uh, then what else? Pada Pankaja. Then Pada Padma. Pankajangri. Nama Pankajangre. So like that. Lotus has hundreds of words in Sanskrit. Angripa means that which drinks from the leg. Like the trees are called as Angripa or Padapa, like that. So Kunti Maharani is actually glorifying the lotus feet of the Lord. One may have this doubt that how is she able to see the marks? So here Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that it is on the soft dust of the land where the Lord traverses. This experience was there by Akrura also, where Akrura could see the impressions of the symbols of the lotus feet of the Lord, and he goes into ecstasy, and he thinks, how am I so fortunate to be able to see this? I'll be meeting that Supreme Lord. So like that, the devotee is meditating on these symbols, and they go into ecstasy. So today I will be discussing about these 19 uh, chinnas, or the ankitas, or the symbols on the lotus feet of the Lord. It is a subject for meditation. We don't have to meditate like the way, close and forcibly meditate on the symbols. Not necessary. Uh, we are in Kali Yuga, but at least wherever we are able to see these signs, it should remind us of the lotus feet of Krishna. So that will be a more easier meditation. more like the Vibhuti Yoga of Bhagavad Gita, where uh, the Lord is describing everything in the nature, what is what, who am I among that. So like that, whenever we see these signs, it can remind us of the Supreme Lord. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and also, of course, Rupa Goswami, they have written this. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written this book called as Rupa Chintamani. That is where all these 19 symbols are described. So many other Vaishnava acharyas have given their interpretations about what each of these symbols mean. So I'll chant one verse. You don't have to repeat it. Chandrardham kalasham trikonadhanushikam goshpadam proshthikam shankham savyapadeth dakshinapade konashthakam swastikam चक्रम छत्रयवंकुशम ध्वजपवी जम्बूर्ध्वरेखाम्भुजम बिभ्रणम हरिम ऊनविंशतिमहा लक्ष्म्यर्चितांग्रिम भजे. So this is the verse told by Chakravarti Thakur. It comes in this book called as Rupa Chintamani. So he's saying Chandrardham. The first symbol on the lotus feet of the Lord is Chandrardham. After Chandrardham, there is Kalasha. Then there is a Trikona. Then there is a Dhanush. Then after that, there is a sky. Now the sky is represented by, oh yeah, thank you. So sky is represented by these two circles. Yeah, two concentric circles. And then there is Goshpada. Goshpada is nothing but the hoof print of a calf. And after Goshpada, there is Proshtikam. Proshtikam is nothing but the fish. So there is a fish. And then there is Shanka. And then on the left leg, there are other symbols. So they begin with Konashtaka. Konashtaka is nothing but 8 konas, that is corners. Earlier we saw Trikona, which has 3 corners, but there is now a Konashtaka, 8 corners. And then there is a swastik. Yeah, there is a swastik sign. And then there is chakra. After chakra, there is chhatra. Chhatra is nothing but umbrella. And after that, there is yava. Yava is nothing but barley corn. And then there is ankusha, which is nothing but an elephant goad to control the elephant. And after that, there is dhwaja, which is a flag. And after dhwaja, there is pavi. Pavi is nothing but vajra, that is thunderbolt. Then there is jambu fruit. After jambu fruit, there is urdhva rekha also. Urdhva rekha beginning from the center of the feet, goes all the way to the top. And then there is ambuja, that is the lotus flower. It's very easy to remember these 19 symbols. We have to use mnemonics. Generally, I use that mnemonics. Mnemonics is nothing but you create a story and you just connect these symbols. So that way it becomes easier to remember the 19 symbols of the Lord. You don't have to, it is not, it is not going to advance us in spiritual life, but if you remember, it is good. But it will help us in remembering the lotus feet of the Lord. And these symbols, they are non-different from the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is how we have to remember them. So we will begin with the first one. The first one is called as Chandrardham. Mnemonic, yeah. So it is like, it's a story where, you are seeing there is a Ardha Chandra in the sky. You are imagining, there's an Ardha Chandra in the sky. Then on the ground, I'm having a Kalasha. And then I have a Trikona on which the Kalasha is kept. Then there is one Dhanusha next to it. So with that Dhanusha, I look in the sky. I want to aim something in the sky, but I see there is a Goshpada and there is a Proshtika. That is nothing but hoof print of a calf and fish. Then, oh, I see the Goshpada, so it is very auspicious. So I blow a conch. And then after that, okay, I am, that is in the left leg. So I go to the right leg. And there I see there is a Ashtakona. There is a mandala. And on top of that, there is a swastik which has been kept. And then there is a chakra which is guarding it. And all these things are guarded by, protected by an umbrella. And all this is happening in a field of barley corn. And there is a person coming on an elephant. So there is a elephant goad. And the elephant also has a flag. The top of the elephant, wherever the sitting place is there, it has a flag. And then I see, Indra is waiting to throw his thunderbolt. And the Mahaut is having one jambu fruit to attack Indra. And then this is a crazy story, please, So there is a jambu fruit in his hand, and also he has a lotus in the other hand. And there is a Urdhva Rekha, which is on the top of the elephant, for his decoration. So that way, one can remember through mnemonics. It's easier way to remember. Anyway, it's not compulsory, as I said, it is not going to help us in advancing, but it helps us in meditating. When we are eager to meditate, understand each one of these symbols, then it can help us. So coming to this Ardha Chandra. Ardha Chandra is non-different from the lotus feet of the Lord. So we see on Lord Shiva's head also, he is quoting this Ardha Chandra, Chandramauleshwara. So it is said that Lord Shiva is keeping the symbol of the lotus feet of the Lord on his head. Generally, we see Liva with this Tiryak Pundra. He does not have the Urdhva Pundra. There's a story behind that also. So to have some representation of the lotus feet of the Lord on his head, he is putting that Ardha Chandra. So he is actually having the lotus feet of the Lord on his head. The reason why he is having this Tiryak Pundra, there's a specific reason. They say that the demons, hobgoblins who are following him, they're generally very tamasic, and whatever Lord Shiva does, they may follow him, and they may also put a tilak. And if they put on a tilak, then they will continue doing their tamasic work, and Sudarshan will not be able to touch them and kill them because they are having Urtupun. So to avoid that, it is said that Lord Shiva is having this. But Lord Shiva's representation of having the lotus feet of the Lord on his head is this Ardha Chandra. There are other stories also, why he has the Ardha Chandra on his head, because the moon god wanted protection and things like that. So this moon, the Ardha Chandra, there are certain qualities of moon. One is it gives out light. So basically, it represents removing the darkness in our heart. The moon of the lotus feet of the Lord represents removing of the darkness from our heart and always keeping us in the light of knowledge. That's one understanding. And then this is like very nice, metaphorical embellishment which Mataji is giving in between. Hello. So this moon also, the other qualities of the moon is that the moon controls the mind. It is the controlling deity of the mind. So the moon of the lotus feet of the Lord helps the sadhakas in controlling their mind and focusing on the lotus feet of the Lord. That is another understanding. So there is the brightness, then there is the controlling, and hmm? Yes, thank you. So like Nitai Padakamala Koti Chandra Shushitala. So it is known for coolness. So it cools down the material miseries. The Ardha Chandra representation of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord helps in cooling down the suffering, the ghor suffering of the material existence. So these are the reasons, these are the representations of the moon symbol on the lotus feet of the Lord. So a devotee can, whenever we see the moon in the sky, it should remind us of the lotus feet of the Lord. We should see that, the sky itself is the lotus feet of the Lord, and there is a chinna, there is a Ardha Chandra on the lotus feet of the Lord. So that helps me in controlling my mind. It helps me in removing the darkness from my heart. It reduces my burning uh, existence of material in this material world. So it removes all of this. And it also represents that, Lord Shiva is sporting that Ardha Chandra. We don't have to do that. From tomorrow, we don't want to put, Ardha Chandra. Lord could do that. We can directly put like this. So we could this lotus feet or the Ardha Chandra is the same. It is representing the lotus feet of the Lord. So if we do not take the shelter of this moon on the lotus feet of the Lord, then there is andhakar, there is amavasya. So on an amavasya night, what happens? Ghost. We are haunted by ghost. Like Jagadananda Pandit says in this Prema Vivarta, Pishachi paile jena mati channa hoy, maya grhast jiver hoy se bhaudoy. It means that Pishachi paile jena mati channa hoy. If a person is haunted by a ghost, he will talk, all nonsense. He will be haunted by the ghost, and he will speak incoherently, and he will speak all crazy things which do not make any sense. So in the same way, Maya grasta jiver hoy se bhavoday. So a Maya grasta jiva also is actually inflicted by the same bhava, like a haunted man, where he's talking about all material things, this, that, family, office, job, uh, everything is actually crazy because, it is all related to the material plane. So Maya grasta jiva also is like a haunted ghost. So when we do not take the shelter of Chandra, then our life is also like a haunted ghost. So we should endeavor to take the shelter of this chinna of the lotus feet of the Lord. The second one is Kalash. Yeah. So Kalash is there on the Lord's lotus feet. It is said Kalash has Amrita. So Kalash is always represented by Amrita. Wherever we see in the Vedic literature, it is having Amrita. Dhanvantri or anybody is, bringing a Kalasha, like Garuda is carrying a Kalasha, it has Amrita. So it has that Amrita which reduces the intense suffering of the material existence. Most of the symbols, when we go through, we see that it talks about reducing the suffering of the material existence. So this Kalasha, this Amrita, it represents that. So we take shelter of this Kalasha Chinna on the lotus feet of the Lord to reduce our material suffering. It is said in Bhagavatam 11th canto that Samsara Sindhu Mati Dustaram Tirshor Nanyat Plavo Bhagavato Purushottamasya Leela Katha Rasa Nishevanantarena Pumso Bhave Vivida Dukha Davarditasya. So it is said that this Samsara Sindhu, Ati dustaram. Very difficult to cross over this material world. Utti Tirshor. Nanyat plavo Bhagavata Purushottamasya. I do not see any other hope or boat. Plava is boat. Other than yourself, my Lord, Purushottama. Nanyat plavo Bhagavata Purushottamasya. Leela Katha Rasa Nishevana Antarena. So the nectar for a person from the scorching heat of material existence is nothing but Leela Katha Rasa. Glorifying the Lord, hearing about the glories of the Supreme Lord, taking his shelter. So Leela Katha Rasa Nishevana Antarena Pumso Bhave Vividha Dukkha Tavarditasya. So then he is relieved from all this suffering of the material existence. So this Kalasha is representing nothing but the glories of the Supreme Lord. So we take the shelter of glorifying the Supreme Lord, chanting his holy name, reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And this Amrita will actually protect us. It removes the sufferings from our heart. Then the third, the third symbol is the Trikona. So Trikona is the representing various things. It represents overcoming the three modes of material nature. It represents overcoming the three tapatrayas, like Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik, Adi Daivik Kleshas. And it also represents engaging our body, mind, and words in the service of the Lord. It reminds us of engaging our body, mind, and words in the lotus feet of the Lord. It also reveals, this Trikona also reveals the tattva of the Supreme Lord, like Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, Tatastha Shakti. It also represents the three energies of the Lord, like Shri, Bhu, Nila Shaktis. And like that, there are many various things which have been represented by this Trikona. So it represents both what a sadhaka should expect and also what will be revealed by the Supreme Lord. Initially, as a sadhaka, we are seeing that it will help us in reminding that we should overcome the three modes of nature. It will protect us from the three tapatrayas, like that. And then later on, as we advance, it also reveals the shaktis of the Lord, the energies of the Lord. So that way, these three, the Trikona represents all these things. So we take shelter of that Trikona on the lotus feet of the Lord. And the next is Dhanush. So this bow is used. It is said, the mind should be used. The bow of our mind should be used in targeting the lotus feet of the Lord. That should be our aim, not any other material desires. So whenever we see the bow, it should remind us that my target is only Krishna, only lotus feet of Krishna, and nothing else. That is my target. So that is represented by this bow. And after bow, it is the sky. The sky is, if you see here, it is represented by two circles. So the understanding which is given by the Vaishnava Acharyas is that the Lord is present everywhere. He is Sarva Vyapaka. He is present both inside and outside. So that is the meaning of the sky. So he is present both inside and outside, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya tatamidam sarvam. Then he also says, Nachamat sthani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram. So he's both present inside and outside also. So basically, the Lord is present everywhere. Sarva khalvedam Brahma, they say that, right? Mahavakya. So like that, we take the shelter of the Lord who is present everywhere. He is present in everything. All the material elements are nothing but they are all coming from him. It is his energy. So it is non-different from the Lord. And Antaranga Shakti, Tatastha Shakti, that is Jivas, we are also belonging to the Supreme Lord. We are the Amshas of the Supreme Lord. So the Lord is present everywhere. The next is the Goshpadam. Goshpadam is the hoof print of the calf. So this is representing the material existence, which will shrink down to the hoof print of the Bhavasagara shrinks down to the hoof print of a calf when we take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Bhagavatam says, I'm sure you all know, Samashritaye pada pallava plavam Mahatpadam punyesho murare Bhavambudir vatsapadam param padam 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 yadvyapadam natesham. So Samashrita, complete shelter, pada pallava plavam, when we take to the shelter of pada pallava, the lotus feet. Then this Bhavambudhi, this whole universe, this Bhavambudhi, this shrinks down and it becomes as small as the hoof print of a calf, as much as the water in the hoof print of a calf. That means it becomes very small. It becomes very easy for a person to cross over this material existence to go back to Krishna. But that only begins with Samashrita, with complete shelter, with complete surrender. So that is what this Goshpadam refers to. And the next is the Prostikam, that is a fish. Now, fish has two understandings, where one is as a sadhaka, our mind, our fish-like mind is very chanchala. It does not stay in one place. It is always, moving here, there. So it is not stable. So it should remind us of not being chanchalya, and we should take our mind, we should fix it on the lotus feet of the Lord and, take complete shelter. So that is what it should remind us. But the fish also is representing the lotus feet of the Lord. So the symbol of fish on the feet of the Lord is representing the devotee, the pure devotee who cannot live without the transcendental nectarian ocean of devotional service. Because if a fish is brought out of water, it cannot survive. So in the same way, the fish is representing the pure devotee, and he cannot live without this transcendental devotional service at the lotus feet of the Lord. So when we see a fish, it should remind us. We should not say, Bechara, who are these fellows who have put it in an aquarium and killing it? When we can't do anything about it, at least think about the lotus feet of the Lord. So that way, wherever you see, if at all you see a fish, it should help us remind that, I have to be stable in my mind. I have to become nishtha, from anishtha we come to nishtha. And then it will be easier for us to advance. And then that will represent a pure devotee who cannot live without the water. And some other acharyas have given this explanation that when our heart is filled with hard rock, then there's no question of the Lord coming there. So the fish-like lotus feet of the Supreme Lord will come and reside in our heart when it becomes liquefied by loving emotional devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So when our heart melts into water, then the lotus feet of the Lord in the form of the fish will come and reside in our heart. So like that, very poetic, explanations have been given. And then there is a Shankha. Shankha is that sign which is having Mother Ganges in it. So Shankha is used in the altar to worship the Lord, and we are, getting the water from the lotus feet of the Lord. So it is representing Ganges. So the Ganges is also there in the Shankha, in the lotus feet of the Lord, and we are taking shelter of Mother Ganges. So Mother Ganges purifies our whole existence, and she purifies all the three worlds, and it should help us remind of Mother Ganga when we see this conch. Conch also actually represents auspiciousness. We blow a conch to bring auspiciousness everywhere in the environment. So, and the next sign is the Ashtakona. The interesting part of this, uh, we have one Trikona and then we also have an Ashtakona. So very interesting how all these mandalas are there on the lotus feet of the Lord. Generally, when we are when we are putting the rangoli, so we can be conscious of putting Ashtakona and a Trikona. That will help us remind the Lord. Ashtakona is very simple: one square and another tilted another square. That's it. You will get eight. You can have other decorations on top of it, but it's very easy to create two squares and you get 8 corners. So even whenever there is festival, generally we see that the rangolis, they should have these ashtakonas, and there should be water pots like kalasha, and this java, that is yavam. Yavam is nothing but barley corn. Bunches of barley corn is also kept. I don't know how this banana plantation has come. Generally when we are putting the torana, so they put banana plantation. I've never seen or heard, but Bhagavatam very clearly describes how Dwarka is being decorated. The scented water is sprinkled everywhere. Then water pots are kept at the doorways. The water pots have scented water, and also it is having colored water. The pots are decorated colorfully, and there is yavam, that is barley corn. So bunches of barley corn are there. So like that is that all these things, they are actually very, very auspicious. They bring auspiciousness. So this ashtakona, it is representing the protection from the lotus feet of the Lord from all the 8 directions. So in any direction, we have no danger. We are always protected, provided we have taken complete shelter. So, and it also represents that a pure devotee automatically gets the 8 siddhis, ashta siddhis. So this represents that. Of course, devotee is not interested in siddhis, but it is there. It is mentioned that he automatically gets it even when he does not want it. Like Vritrasura prays, Nanaka prashtam nacha parameshtyam na sarvabhaumam na rasadhipatyam na yoga siddhim apunar bhavam va samanjasatva virahayyakanksha. He's saying, I don't need all of this. Nanaka prashtam, heavenly planets. Na parameshtyam, I do not want the position of Brahma. Na sarvabhauma, I do not want an earthly rule on this planet Earth. I don't want to become any Chakravarti Samrat. Narasadhipatyam, nor any rulership in the lower planetary systems. Na yoga siddhim, I do not want the 8 mystic perfections. Apunar bhavamba, I do not want liberation also. Samanjasatvaya virahaya kangshe. From viraha of the Lord, from if I have to be separated from you and get all of this, then I don't need it. I don't want it. Because for a devotee, pure devotional service is important, not what he has. The Lord is giving it, yes, he will accept. Like Dhruva Maharaj and all the kingly, saintly kings, they received so many benedictions from the Lord. So they know proper utilization of wealth, prosperity. So the Lord gives them if we know how to handle it. If not, the devotee is not interested because he's niskinchana, akinchana. So he has no expectations except save and except for the lotus feet of Lord. So this is Trikona. Ashtakona. Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you. So what is next? Swastik. The Ashtakona. it may be there because there are many meanings for each of these symbols. So whatever I have come across, whatever is easier for me to remember, I'm just stating that. Anything that can be used, that can help us remind the lotus feet of the Lord, is acceptable. So that is how we have various interpretations of the same shloka of Bhagavatam by different acharyas. Sometimes there is contradiction also. In one place, in one of the shlokas, I think maybe Swam Prakash Prabhu can help. There is, Sridhar Swami is writing an interpretation of one shloka, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving completely different another interpretation of the same verse, because there is so much of variety in spiritual life. So that is how they understand. Okay, the next is the swastik. Swastik is it is just said that it brings auspiciousness. One can keep a swastik in our houses also. This swastik is representing the lotus feet of the Lord directly. So it is as good as having the lotus feet of the Lord in our houses. It brings auspiciousness. Not like the Nazis who used swastik. They brought inauspiciousness only to the world by having it. They just destroyed everybody, and uh, he was more. They say that he was more inclined towards Vedic knowledge, and so he stole. He was reading Bhagavad Gita and he stole this swastik also. So swastik is not created by Nazis or anybody, but it is the symbol of the lotus feet of the Lord, and it brings auspiciousness. One can use it to bring inauspiciousness also in the world, like Hitler. So, but it's generally representing auspiciousness. So long a person is following dharma and he is having a swastik, then there is all auspiciousness. The next is chakra. Chakra is Sudarshan chakra, and it is helping us remind that the Lord is always protecting us. So the Sudarshan chakra always protects the devotees from any harm. And Sudarshan chakra is also known for destroying the enemies of the devotees. And who are the enemies of the devotees? I want an intelligent answer. Yeah, very intelligent. Yes. So the real enemy of a devotee is we ourselves. Prabhupada in one conversation he says, we are our own enemy. So yeah. So all the senses and our mind, the leader of the senses, they are our real enemies. And Sudarshan, Lord Sudarshana, he helps in killing these enemies also. So whenever we pray to Lord Sudarshana, we pray that, please destroy my enemies, not my neighbor, but my enemies who are inside me. Like that, that should be the prayer. So there are, whenever we see a chakra, on the top of the temple or Jagannath Puri, it is non-different from the Lord. So this chinna is non-different from the lotus feet of the Lord. So it helps us remember the Supreme Lord. Anything, very round, decorative also should help us remember Lord Sudarshan. So we take shelter of Lord Sudarshan. Very extensively, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has glorified Lord Sudarshana in Chaitanya Bhagavata. There's an entire chapter where, they're traveling from in Odisha, when they're coming to Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya and others. This description of Mahaprabhu seeing the Sudarshan Chakra. Then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur goes on and on and on, describing, quoting from everywhere from the scriptures about the glories of Lord Sudarshan. How Lord Sudarshan also protects even a neophyte devotee. So that we should keep in our mind. He's always there to protect. We should take shelter. So what to speak? Ajamil called out for his son, and the Vishnu Dutas appeared. So when we eagerly take shelter of Lord Sudarshan, he's there to protect us. Yeah. So it should remind us of, Sudarshan Chakra. That's a nice way of. But can we really? Generally, it's difficult because we only carry those. Our consciousness is only that which is nothing but it is a, uh, what do you call, it is only um, showing or uh, what we have done throughout the day. Yeah, it's only a replay of what we have done throughout the day. Throughout the day, have we been Krishna conscious? If we have been, then whatever you are seeing, there is Lord. You are remembering the Lord. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati, tasyaham na pranashyami, sachamena pranashyati. So wherever we see, you know, if it is reminding us of the Lord is never lost to us. That way, even when we are paying obeisances to all the devotees, 11th canto of Bhagavatam says a devotee pays obeisances to everybody, all the living entities also. It is mentioned like that. Very surprising because Paramatma is there in all the living entities. At least mentally, we don't have, we see an ant, we don't have to pay dandavat. At least, mentally, yes, Paramatma is there in the heart of the Jiva. It should immediately remind us of Paramatma. That is the reason why we don't kill any. So when we pay obeisances also, we are paying not to this Jada Vastu. This is perishable, earth, water, fire, air, ether. We are paying obeisances to the Paramatma in the hearts of all the living entities. So, of course, that is inclusive of the devotee Atma also, because he is Amsha of the Supreme Lord. But when we do not see the Lord, and when we have Pritak Drisha, when we have a separatist vision, then we tend to commit offenses. Then we will not be able to realize the Supreme Lord. In the third canto, Bhagavan Kapila makes a very beautiful statement. He says, "Ham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma vastita sada tam avagyaya mam martya kurute archa vidambanam." He says, "Ham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma." I am situated in each and every living entity's heart. Bhutatma vastita sada tam avagyaya, disrespecting them, abusing them, insulting them, all the jivas. But Mam Martya Kurte Archa. But he is worshipping my deity form in the temple. It is Kevalam Vidambanam. Just an imitation. You go on doing deity worship 24 hours a day also, but you don't know how to respect a devotee. It is simply a useless waste of time. You may be thinking, I'm a Brahmana, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm performing deity worship. But Bhagavan Kapila clearly mentions this. Tam avagyaya mam martya kurute archa vidambanam. Vidambanam means imitation. Just a waste of time. Because that worship is never accepted by the Lord. The Lord doesn't accept. We may go on circling the arti and agarbatti, but we do not get any benefit because the Lord has already rejected. So the disrespect of jiva is nothing but envy. It is directly envy of the Supreme Lord. So, because the Lord is present as Paramatma, the Murtis, when we are not able to accept all the Murtis created by the Lord, we are all Murtis of the Lord because the Lord is present here. So, this is a temple. He's there as a Paramatma. When we are not able to accept all these Murtis, what Archa Murti Seva will we do? So, we do not have any understanding. That is why it is said, Archayam eva haraye पूजाम श्रद्धये हते न तद भक्तेषु च अन्येषु स भक्त प्राकृत स्मृत. The person may be in very big position, but when he does not know how to respect a devotee, he is a kanishtha only. Because na tad bhakteshu cha anyeshu, my devotee and anyeshu, that means other living entities. If he does not know how to respect them, then he is prakrata. Parakrata devotee, like that. Sorry, I got carried away. You had asked something. You said, yeah, how we can uh, see, the Lord in everything. In, you can see in fan also. If we have Premanjana Charita, then yes, throughout the day, whatever we have done according to our consciousness, we'll be able to see the Lord. But throughout the day, we have done something else. We are busy doing so many other material activities. If we are not properly following karma yoga in whatever we are doing, that will also bind us. That's how it is. Okay, this was about the chakra. And okay, I think I have to finish only these 19 and stop. So yeah, so after chakra is chatra. Chatra is nothing but the umbrella. So the umbrella on the lotus feet of the Lord is representing shelter, protection from the burning heat of this material existence. Bhagavatam says, there's a beautiful verse, it says, Tapatreenabhihatasya ghore santapyamanasya bhavadvaneshah pashyami nanyat charanam tavangrim dvandvatapatrad amritabhivarshat. It means Tapatreenabhihatasya ghore. Ghor tapa. All these three tapas that we are going through, it is ghor. Hatasya ghore. Just, beating us. Santapya, we are burning. Tapa. Santapya manase bhavadvanesh. And the devotee is praying that Pashyami na anyat sharanam tavangrim. I do not see any other shelter save and except your lotus feet. And when you have to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, when there is burning coal from the sky, how do we take shelter? On top of it? Under it. So Dvandva Ata Patrad Amritabhi Varsha. The lotus feet of the Lord become umbrella. Atapatra means umbrella. So Dvandva means two. The umbrella of the two lotus feet of the Lord will protect us. Not only protect us, but Amritabhi Varsha. There is another rain also inside the umbrella. And that is showering nectar. It is cooling down. Generally, the property of nectar is when you drink, you become cool and peaceful. So that is the property of the nectar. So Dvandvata Patra Amritabhi Varsha. So we have been experiencing the burning of this material existence. And now, by taking shelter of the umbrella of the lotus feet of the Lord, which also is the umbrella, one, is protected from this rain of material suffering, and he becomes completely peaceful and satisfied. And after Chhatra, we have this Yava. Yava is the barley corn. Barley corn is generally representing auspiciousness, and it is also very thin. The scriptures tell us that when a devotee's cycle of birth and death becomes thinner and thinner and thinner like a barley corn, and it brings auspicious in his life. So these are the two understandings. So that is why in the Vedic culture, the barley corn is used in all the festivals because it brings auspiciousness. Then there is Ankusha. Ankusha is nothing but the elephant goad, which is used for controlling the mind. Our mind is like an elephant. The elephant-like mind is controlled by the goad of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, so that we can engage in the service of the Lord. Another meaning also is given that if we are able to, this is for a sadhaka, but once we advance, then it is said that elephant goad should remind us that we can become a pure devotee, and a devotee can ride on an elephant like like a Mahamandaleshwara or something like that. So one can reach to that level also by simply taking shelter of the Lord. So this elephant goad represents control of the mind for us now, as of now. And then there is Dhwaja. Dhwaja is representing victory. Dhwaja is also representing protection. We see the Dhwaja on top of Lord Jagannath's temple. So it is non-different from the Lord. It it is a sign of protection, basically, and it is a sign of victory also. That is why we have Kapidhwaja. Arjuna had Kapidhwaja because Hanumanji was protecting, and also Hanumanji was representing victory for Arjuna. Like, hmm? Oh yeah, thank you very much. So our spiritual master has Jaya Pataka Swami. So it is victory flag. He is giving us protection actually. We see so many messages. Our spiritual master is asking, please pray for me. So he doesn't need our prayers because the Lord is directly protecting him. But he is asking us to pray so that we are benefited, not for his benefit. Because when we pray to the Lord for the protection of our spiritual master, we are benefited. So that way, in fact, he's the one who's protecting all of us, and he's engaging all the jivas in the service of the Lord somehow or the other. So that represents the victory flag. Yeah. And the next one is the thunderbolt. Yeah. So the main property of the thunderbolt is to smash mountains. Indra uses it to smash mountains. So the thunderbolt of pure devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord destroys mountains of sins. And that is why thunderbolt is representing the destroyer of the sins of devotees. So even if a devotee uh, accidentally deviates, the Lord still gives protection, and he does not come under the control of karma. The Lord personally purifies the devotee even when he deviates after dedicating his life. Bhagavatam 11th canto says, Swapadamulam bhajata priyasya yaktanya bhavasya hari paresha vikarma yachotpaditham katanchet dhunoti sarvam hridi sannivishta. Vikarma yacha utpatitam katanchet. So even if he commits vikarma, sin, then and he becomes patita, but dhunoti sarvam hridi sannivishta. I sit in his heart and completely remove all his reactions or propensities. So the Lord is always protecting. So this thunderbolt is representing destruction of sins. Then we have there's a jambu fruit. Jambu fruit, the understanding is given that all the residents of the Jambu Dvipa, like we all are residents of Jambu Dvipa, one of the Varshas in the Jambu Dvipa. All the residents of Jambu Dvipa have one and only one aim of worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. Because it is expected all the pious people are living in the Jambu Dvipa. And that too, we are all living in Bharat Varsha. So Bharat Varsha is the most glorious place to live in this entire universe. It is said that Kalpayusham sthana jayat punarbhavat Kshanayusham Bharata bhujayo varam. One may live for kalpas in Brahmaloka, but that is useless. But Kshanayusham Bharata bhumi jayo varam. If you are taking birth in Bharata bhumi, even for a kshana, then it is much greater birth than anything else. So like that, the Lord is reminding us through this Jambu Dvipa, where everybody who takes my shelter, and everybody should take shelter of the Lord. So it is like, this place, Jambu Dvipa, is my people are there here. That is what the Lord is telling. So this Jambu should help us remind that, we are all devotees of the Lord, and Lord is the only shelter for us. That is what it represents. Then there is Urdhvareka. Urdhvareka is representing that all the living entities who are progressing in spiritual life, their destination is only upward. It is not Adhoreka, it is Urdhvareka. So it is going upward. So it is going upward towards the lotus feet of the Lord, to the Parampadam, to the spiritual world. And then there is the Kamala, lotus. The whole thing started with the lotus feet of the Lord. So the lotus also is there on the lotus feet of the Lord. So the devotee is considered as a bumblebee who is very, very greedy for the nectar of the Lord's lotus feet, which is in the form of a lotus. So the bumblebee, is always very chanchala. It's, moving here, there, very greedy to get the nectar of the Lord. So that is why in the first canto of Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami says, Athavasya padam bhoja makaranda liham satam kimanner asadalapair ayusho yad asatvyaya. So Athavasya padam bhoja, the lotus feet of the Lord, makaranda liham satam. The bees, the devotees who are like bees, they are very eager to lick and suck the nectar, the honey. Makarand is nothing but honey. Makarand liham, they are eager to lick the honey from the lotus feet of the Lord. Licking means not literally licking. Licking means very eager to hear the glories of the Supreme Lord. Kim manner asat alapair. They are not interested in asat alapa. Unnecessary, unwanted prajalpa is known as asat alap. Kim manner asat alapair ayushoyad asatyaya. So the ayu is completely destroyed by listening to the asat alap. So the devotees are very eager to hear the glories of the Lord. So they are like bumblebees. They are bees. They are also known as alibi. The word Sanskrit is very beautiful. Alibi. They are known as alibi. The English has the word bee. It is coming from alibi only. Bee is there in this. Even Kannada also, for roaming, what do you say? Alita idane. It's coming from alibi because the bee is also having the habit of, always roaming around, to get some nectar. So like that, it's a beautiful language. So the lotus also is representing that when a devotee's heart, very similar to I mentioned in the other one also, fish. So when the heart of the devotee is softened by bhakti, the Lord comes and resides on the lotus of our heart. It also represents the heart of a devotee, a pure devotee. Heart of a pure devotee also represents the lotus. Bhagavatam says, Ye tu tvadiya charanam bhuja kosha gandham jigranti karna vivarai shrutivata bhaktya grihita charana paraya cha tesham. Bhaktya grihita charana paraya cha tesham na paishinat hridayam buruhat swapumsam. So this is the verse. This comes between the conversation of Maitreya Muni and Vidura, where Maitreya is saying that Etu tvadiya charanam bhuja kosha gandham. The lotus feet of the Lord, it is like a kosha inside the lotus. So Etu tvadiya charanam bhuja kosha gandham jigranti karna pivar. The devotee is very eager to smell that inner depths of the lotus flower. And how is he smelling it? Through the ears, not through the nose. Jigranti karna vivarai. Very beautiful, na? Bhagavatam is using all these words, nice embellishments. So, Jigranti karna vivarai shruti vata nitam. Through the process of shruti, by hearing, by understanding only. Then what happens? Bhaktya grihita charana. The devotee is holding on to the lotus feet of the Lord. Grihita, Bhaktya grihita charana parayaja tesham na paishi nata hridayamburuhat swapumsam. The Lord comes and he is seated in the lotus of the devotee's heart. So that is a pure devotee, a purified devotee. The Lord is very eager to come and sit. So like that, there are many references in the Bhagavatam where the heart of a devotee is representing lotus. He has a lotus platform also. Shukadev Goswami in the second canto also, he is saying Kechit Swadehantar Hridayavakash No, there is yeah, he says unnidra unnidra hrit pankaja karnikalaye yogeshwara sthapita padapallavam. The yogi, bhakti yogi or a pure devotee, unnidra hrit pankaja karnikalaye, on the platform of his hrit pankaja, that is the lotus of his heart, he is yogeshwara sthapita padapal. He is establishing the lotus feet. He is doing the prana pratishtha of the lotus feet of the Lord in his heart, like that. So that way, many references are there in the Bhagavatam, how the lotus feet of the Lord also, the lotus on the lotus feet of the Lord is representing the Lord's lotus feet, which comes and resides on the lotus of the devotee's heart. Too much lotus here and there. So anyway, you can ignore, don't have to worry. So this is the last symbol on the feet of Lord Krishna. There are another 19 symbols of Mother Radharani, but we don't have time for it. Maybe that's a homework for all of you. Okay, I would like to end here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we will have some representation of devotees who would want to speak on book distribution, I think.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we have two devotees who are eager to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. So I request Vigan Mohan Gopal Prabhu and Sama Prabhu to come ahead, and they want to distribute on the occasion of now the Bhadra Purnima is also coming, and as Krishna is non-different from the Bhagavatam, so they want to place Bhagavatam. Their desire is to place Bhagavatam in each and every house of Bangalore. So at the same time, as a short-term target, they want to distribute at least 335 Srimad Bhagavatam sets by Bhadra Purnima. 335 because it's 335 chapters are there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is a target. So we would like to just share about what are his plans, and at the same time some glories of Bhagavatam. Short. So we wanted to have his like a class also, but somehow it was we'll try to have again in the Hare Krishna.
ज्ञानातिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं आनन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीदवतकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामिनिति नामिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण everybody. Hare Krishna. Yeah, I just ask forgiveness in the beginning because you have to tolerate me for the next 20 or 30 minutes. So definitely something interesting we have come to present. This is not presentation of us, this is the presentation of our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I was very happy that I was part of this class today because I could see a very scholarly presentation of the Lotus Feet of the Lord presented by Ashok Gaur Prabhu, right? Yeah. Very happy to see the presentation. When I remember the lotus feet of the Lord, I remember one particular thing from Srimad Bhagavatam. Can anybody correlate Srimad Bhagavatam and the lotus feet of the Lord? Exactly, the first two cantos. That's very important. The first two cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. Whole Bhagavatam is important, but how we saw the lotus feet of the Lord is so much glorified in the Shastra. Similarly, the first two cantos, they just set up the tenure for the presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam. The first canto is nicely presented by Sutta Goswami. Then the second canto is nicely taken to the higher level more by Shri Shukadeva Goswami. First, I have to thank Narahari Chaitanya Prabhu, who has given us an opportunity to serve the temple here. He was very happy, saying that this is the temple of Srila Prabhupada. All ISKCON temples are definitely Srila Prabhupada temples. That's no doubt. And he mercifully allowed us to stay here and do some book distribution here. Definitely, we have come here for book distribution, particularly Srila Prabhupada Srimad Bhagavatam said. And not that we only want to distribute, we want everybody to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam sets. I have certain questions also, you can answer me. How many of you here in this Sangha has finished whole Srimad Bhagavatam? Okay, few hands. Yeah, definitely we should read Srimad Bhagavatam. This is our life and soul. Srila Prabhupada, he wrote means he translated, made a commentary for Srimad Bhagavatam. Day and night he was writing the commentary for Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not a small thing. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, even before entering the Western world, he started the translation of Srimad Bhagavatam with first canto. It took a couple of years for him because he has to do the editing, he has to check the manuscripts, he has to print the first canto and that in 3 volumes. It's not so easy. I am coming from a printing background. I know how difficult it is to make a book. And I am from a printing background with my father as a printing man running a printing shop. We have this technology called computer to plate technology, which is more advanced. So when I entered my father's business, it is quite advanced, but still we know how difficult it is to produce a book. But Srila Prabhupada's time, it was not the case. It was not even film technology, which it was my father's time. But Srila Prabhupada was long back in 1960s he was doing, and that time printing industry is completely new. It's not so easy. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritties of how printing is done. But Srila Prabhupada, he personally took so many years to bring up the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and with first cantos he went to the United States of America. Then we later know the history that Srila Prabhupada made. Then even after his wonderful presentation of Krishna consciousness in the Western world, still he was continuing his translation, commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam. It went on and on, 65, 60, 1965, 66, 67, 68. Every year he was just doing Bhagavatam translation only. In fact, Srila Prabhupada's beginning disciples, they did not even know much of Krishna consciousness, and they did not even know that why this Swamiji is every night sitting in front of a typewriter and then doing some translation and typing something. They do not know that he is a very old man, what he is typing, what he will do, even if he is leaving the world, what will happen to his, nothing they know. And they were surprised why this Swamiji is typewriting all these things. But we know that Srila Prabhupada had such a compassion in his heart that this message of Srimad Bhagavatam will save the whole world. And even if people are not aware or not understanding what this message is, but still he kept on doing, because this is the order of his Guru Maharaj, that he has to present Krishna consciousness in the Western world in a Western language. So Srila Prabhupada presented Srimad Bhagavatam for us. So definitely it's for us. Srila Prabhupada took so much efforts to write in a very low language, English. This is not an advanced language like Sanskrit. Like the Prabhu, he spoke so wonderfully. He quoted so many shlokas. It's very nice, beautiful to hear from Sanskrit, but English is not like that. But Srila Prabhupada, even in such a low language, he presented Srimad Bhagavatam in a very wonderful way. That way, English got credit. Otherwise, English has no credit for its existence at all. But only credit we can give is that it's a language of sense gratifiers. That's it. So it's a very important literature. We should read it, and more importantly, we should distribute it. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada wrote for us, and he wrote for us to distribute. He's in his 70s. He distributed a few copies when he was in India, but he made sure that his disciples distributed this Krishna conscious literatures. And we know till 1977, Prabhupada, in the last breath of his life, he was transferring Srimad Bhagavatam. So this should always make us enthused to go for distributing this. What a personality this Srila Prabhupada is, that at his deathbed also he is still giving this literature for the what I can say, for the uphold or for the benefit of the whole humankind. So let us read it and let us take it and distribute it also. Is there anybody who has distributed Srimad Bhagavatam in their life? Good. And now there is no choice, that everybody has to distribute it. Generally, devotees think that this is not a time for book distribution. They think that book distribution happens in the month of December or maybe Bhadra Purnima, because our Guru Maharaj Sonlas Jayapataka Swami, he wants us. In fact, this is an very nice impetus for us to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam, because our Guru Maharaj wants us to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. He always asks us the score of Bhadra Purnima sets. How many sets distributed? So this would be impetus. Actually, every disciple of Srila Prabhupada, they wanted these books to be distributed. So we should distribute these literatures, and not that it has a time period of Bhadra Purnima or Marathon or Vaikuntha Ekadasi or any special festival programs. Just as we take prasadam every day, right? We take prasadam every day. On a festival day, we have a feast. Okay. So Marathon or Bhadra Purnima means special days that you should do more. All other days you should do a normal score of, I distributed 3 sets only today. I distributed only 5 sets Bhagavatam today. On a festival day, we should distribute many hundreds and hundreds of sets. Yes, this should be. In fact, we are waiting when such day will come. These days should come. These days will anyway come to pass. Srila Prabhupada disciples, they started with a small book, BTGs. Then later, the next generation, Prabhupada disciples, they started distributing Mahabig books. Srila Prabhupada's time in 1969-70, distributing one Mahabig book considered a very big thing. Oh, this devotee distributed a Mahabig book, one Mahabig book. It is a very big thing. Devotees will be really surprised that he distributed 3 Mahabig books. Nowadays, we don't see like that. 3 Mahabig books, it's a very ordinary score. Nobody will say, oh, he has achieved something unachievable. But those times, distributing 3 Mahabig books is considered very big. Then later in the 72, 73, 74, devotees started distributing even 50s and hundreds of Mahabig books. Now the baton is now handed over to our generation. Now what is our contribution? Should we again distribute Mahabig books? We should do some contribution to our sampradaya. So our contribution to our sampradaya is distributing Srimad Bhagavatam sets. Why not a proposal? Let this be our contribution to our sampradaya. Srila Prabhupada disciples worked so hard to push these books, and now everything is set. The society, everywhere there is ISKCON, everywhere there are hundreds and hundreds of devotees residing in every ISKCON temple. Now every temple can, and there is so much of propaganda about Krishna consciousness also. Now it should not be a difficult task for us to distribute Bhagavatam sets. Just think that we have to just desire it. Just Srila Prabhupada, he writes in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam about the materialist. Prabhupada writes that a materialist can get out of the cycle of birth and death just by desiring to get out. If one wants to get out of material nature, first desire it. Let me get out. Similarly, distributing Bhagavatam set is not something very, of course, by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga only everything is possible. But we should just desire to give Srimad Bhagavatam set. If you don't have the desire, oh, this is very big, I can't. Oh, this is so costly, I can't. If you have such preconceived opinions, then we will never be able to distribute Bhagavatam sets. But it is possible by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. As Srila Prabhupada says, that impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. So don't think that distributing Bhagavatam set is an impossible task. It's possible. Already many people, many devotees, they rose their hand. So definitely, if that is possible for others, then it is possible for everybody also. But we should have that intense desire to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam set. And we should have a program for distribution also. So we have come up with some idea how we can go about distributing Srimad Bhagavatam sets. Don't think that just marathon is enough, because at least for our own sake, we should distribute Srila Prabhupada, because we got the mercy. We got the mercy. Let us give the mercy back. See, we are having at times that there is some marathon, but Maya doesn't have something called relaxation at all. For Maya, it is always marathon. It is a Kali Yuga marathon happening now for her. Once Kali Yuga gone, then Satyuga marathon will come. Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, all yugas, she is binding the conditioned soul in the material world. And Kali Yuga marathon is easy for her. So much of Maya book division happens. It's easy to propagate her ideas in Kali Yuga marathon. But we should now focus on Srila Prabhupada marathon, how we can do nice distribution of Srila Prabhupada books. This is beneficial for us, and this will benefit the outside society also. And many new devotees will come by distribution of Srila Prabhupada books. This Maya Devi is known as Meenakshi. I am coming from Tamil Nadu. This body was born in Tamil Nadu. That's the famous place called Madurai, where this famous temple called Meenakshi is there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also visited. And Meenakshi means Meena refers to fish. Prabhu was speaking about fish. So we remember Meenakshi. But Akshi refers to the eye. Meenakshi means her eyes are like the fish. Means she never sleeps. She's always watching us. If you are trying to get out of material existence, like that, she's always watching us. Maya is always watching us. Of course, the Saivites, they have a different interpretation. They say that just like a mother always watches her child taking care, like that the devotees of Shiva, they say that Ambal, she always watches her devotees, her children. But we know she's Maya Devi. So her taking care means keeping us in the material world, in her house of material world. But we are trying to come out. For that, Srila Prabhupada books are the only solution. So we should distribute. And Srimad Bhagavatam set is a wonderful idea. It's a wonderful presentation by Srila Prabhupada that without distribution of Srimad Bhagavatam sets, it's not possible to become a pure devotee of the Lord. It's there in Srila Prabhupada. Without Srimad Bhagavatam, no one can become a pure devotee of the Lord. If you want to become a pure devotee of the Lord, you have to read. There is no other way. We have been so far distributing Bhagavad Gita. It's good. One can say that, then why not Bhagavad Gita? We are distributing Bhagavad Gita. Isn't that? We can't. Of course, Bhagavad Gita is a book. Definitely, it's a important book. But Srimad Bhagavatam is, as Srila Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita is the ABCD of spiritual life. ABCD. ABCD does. We should not be always staying in the ABCD. We have to go higher. How long we'll be in ABCD? Of course, Bhagavad Gita is a very advanced book also. It's even very difficult for people to understand Bhagavad Gita. But still, Bhagavatam is a graduate program, Srila Prabhupada said. Srila Prabhupada said Bhagavatam is a graduate program. And if you read Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vetti tatpataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. So Krishna, he says to Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, whoever knows my birth and activities as transcendental Then after leaving this body, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naitimam sojana, he gives up this material world and comes back to me. So Krishna says, one who knows the birth and activities of me to be transcendental. Bhagavad Gita is a half an hour dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Nowhere in Bhagavad Gita you will find the Janma and Karma of Krishna. Where you will find the Janma and Karma? Janma is the birth of Krishna. Karma is activities of Krishna. But in Bhagavad Gita there is no Janma Karma. There is just Vacha of Krishna to Arjuna. But Janma Karma is spoken by Krishna, saying that if you know this, then you will come back to me. So Krishna says that Janma Karma should be known, which is found in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna says one has to come to Bhagavatam to come to me. It's very proper, he writes in that purport, that where the Janma Karma is present. So everybody has, it's mandate on all devotees that one reads Srimad Bhagavatam and also distributes Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a very important literature that we have to read it, imbibe it, definitely study it and attain perfection. Janma Sartaka Karikara Paraupakar. Then we have to distribute it. We have to do this Paraupakar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's religion is this. I have so many things to say, which I think it's very difficult for me to say, but I'll just start a good beginning of what we should do or what we are planning to do. So we are planning to do Bhagavatam set distribution for the coming of this temple. We know a beautiful temple is coming up here. A beautiful Shri Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, then Gaurnita, and then Shri Radha Krishna Reddy's are coming. So the Supreme Lord is coming here. This is like a Graha Pravesha for us, right? It's not our Graha Pravesha, it is for the Lord, because it's a new temple for the Lord. In fact, this is a Mandira Pravesh, we can say, because the Lord is entering a temple. In fact, once the Lord comes, it becomes a temple. And when there is a Graha Pravesha, we always expect some gifts from others, right? Some gifts from others. So now the Lord is going to come here. So naturally, he may also expect some gifts. So what are the gifts you are going to give me? Huh? What are the gifts? I'm coming to your house. I'm coming to your place. So what are the things you are going to do for me? Definitely, we have to give nice food to the Lord. Definitely, there will be some Mataji's team, Prabhuji's team doing nice food preparation for the Lord. Definitely, you have to do that. That's an offering. Then somebody can give a nice clothing as an offering to the Lord. Yes, definitely, we should offer nice clothing to the Lord. Then we should offer a nice ornaments to the Lord. Yes, this also we should do. We want a place also. Already we are building a beautiful place for the Lord. Yes, these are all offerings for the Lord. We should do that. We should definitely continue all these things also. But we should know that Krishna is always getting all these things in the spiritual world also. Nicely he is given bhoga. Nicely he is given food by his dear devotees. Yashodamai or Srimati Radharani, Lakshmi Devi, they are all wonderfully cooking for the Lord. And then the assistants of the Lord, they are also offering him beautiful garlands, beautiful flower garlands are offered by the friends of Krishna in the forest. And nice scented things are also offered to the Lord. So all these offerings are also obtained by the Lord in the spiritual world also. Definitely we should offer those things here also. But definitely one thing we cannot offer there in the spiritual world. We cannot offer one thing in the spiritual world. We cannot offer any souls to the spiritual, to the Krishna in the spiritual world, because everybody is already offered. The conditioned souls can be offered to the Lord when they come to this material world only. So we should offer the conditioned souls to this Lord. That's what our preaching mission is all about, right? We were also conditioned soul, and still I'm also a conditioned soul suffering. Still, by the mercy of Krishna, I'm continuing the process. So this offering of conditioned souls to the Lord can happen in the material world when the Lord comes here. So the Lord is mercifully coming to the material world. We can give every offering to the Lord, but the offering of conditioned souls is possible now. And how to offer conditioned souls? We cannot offer conditioned souls. Conditioned souls should become surrendered souls. This is the offering. And how one can become a surrendered soul? Through Srila Prabhupada books. Through Srila Prabhupada books. Only by Srila Prabhupada books, a conditioned soul can become a surrendered soul. And we have to do that much. And now we don't even have to, I'm not saying that, okay, you make them a devotee and then bring them to the temple and offer to the Lord. It's very difficult for us to make a conditioned soul a surrendered soul. Let us give that job to Srila Prabhupada. Let us give Srila Prabhupada's books. Let us give Srimad Bhagavatam said to the conditioned souls. Srila Prabhupada will take care of the preaching. Now, or in the near future, or in the far future, or at least in the next birth, definitely they will become a pure devotee of the Lord because they have got Srimad Bhagavatam said. Because Bhagavatam said, Bhagavatam is the literature that Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana Mukta Sankas Jayate. Every day we are also hearing this is a very, very important literature that it fully, clearly explains the science of Krishna in Tattva, in Siddhanta. Everything is so perfectly present in Srimad Bhagavatam. If you give Srimad Bhagavatam, just as there is no other best gift we can give to the conditioned soul. The best gift that we can give to the conditioned soul is Srimad Bhagavatam, and that offering of the scores of Bhagavatam sets to the Supreme Lord when he appears here by the month of September on the day of 29th, that will be an offering, best offering. You all agree? Yes, obviously. Then Srila Prabhupada wanted that. Srila Prabhupada wanted that. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he went to the Western world to pick the conditioned souls and offer to his Guru Maharaj. And Srila Prabhupada had a plan that these conditioned souls can become surrendered souls through Srimad Bhagavatam, through these Vedic literatures. And Sarva Vedi Itihasanam Saram Saram Samudrutam. It comes in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that the essence of the Vedic literature is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam shukamukat amrita dhrava samyutam pibata bhagada rasamalayam. This Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge. With one anecdote, I'll just a little bit wind up the class. Then a few minutes I'll speak about some techniques. Then more I can explain also, because I'll be around here only. If anybody wants any suggestion, any query, I'm always available 24 hours. Don't bother about the time. Anytime you can call me, and I will be very happy to give you any assistance regarding that. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is one story, not exactly a story, that's a passage where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami speaks about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being the gardener of the tree of devotional service, and he is distributing the fruits of love of Godhead to whomever he meets. They may be qualified or unqualified, but still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is distributing that fruit of love of Godhead. And what is that fruit of love of Godhead? That's this Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam. That Srimad Bhagavatam is that fruit to be distributed. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants this fruit of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the ripened fruit of Vedic literature, to be distributed to everyone. Amarangya Guru Hayatara Yadesh. This is order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we have to distribute this fruit. So we have to distribute. Let's distribute. Because this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, though he is fully qualified as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he himself can do it. But he himself says that I am the lone gardener, what I can do, how much I can eat and how much I can distribute. Then he says, I want everyone in the universe to come and take and distribute it. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted this fruit of love of Godhead, Srimad Bhagavatam, Galitam Phalam, to be distributed. So let's make an attempt, and definitely we'll expect the Lord. We can expect the Lord's mercy, because Lord is very happy to help. We have all illicit desires, but Lord was helping us in millions of lifetimes. Now we have a very pure desire to serve Him, and which He is also desiring. Nachatasman Manusheshu Kashin me Priyakritama. He'll be very happy that because this is His desire to distribute food of love of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is wanted to distribute, and if some volunteers are coming that let me also distribute, then he'll be happy. Yes, go and distribute. So that fruit, phalam, is already ready. Book Srila Prabhupada has already given everything. The fruit is nicely present, nicely ripened now. The fruit is already ripened. Because of Sukadeva Goswami, it has become more ripened. Now Srila Prabhupada's purports are added. Now it is completely more and more ripened. The only thing is that we have to relish it first and distribute it. So let's distribute it. And Because generally the objection is that the book is very costly, or it is very bulky, so many volumes. No, don't think of all these things. First, you desire to distribute it. I'll give a very simple suggestion. Though it may be very difficult to distribute to a cold contact, you don't have to worry about cold contact. Cold contacts means somebody new, strange. Even that also you can try, but I can suggest that right in sitting in your place, you will be able to distribute dozens and dozens of Bhagavatam sets. Just take your mobile phone. You will be having so many contact numbers, hundreds and hundreds of contact numbers. Just check if this person in your mobile now he is having Bhagavatam set or not. If not, just call him. That's it. Just call him, speak to him that we are building a nice temple. So we are having a good proposal that whoever is contributing this amount of 8,500 to this temple will be happily offering this Srimad Bhagavatam set. We want to give Bhagavatam set. Let them give to temple or let them buy Bhagavatam. It is the price is the same. Our motive is that let them take advantage of this book. Of course, this temple is also meant for Bhagavatam, right? All temples are meant for promoting Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada writes in the introduction to Bhagavatam, first canto, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled the length and breadth of Bharatavarsha to distribute the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. So our temple is meant for Bhagavatam. In fact, all ISKCON temples are meant for distributing this fruit of love of Godhead present in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So right in your mobile, you will be able to find contacts. If you have 1,000 contacts, then make sure that you distribute 1,000 sets in your life. Yeah, you have to do, otherwise why that contact is in you, in your mobile phone? Let him get the sukruti of getting Bhagavatam set from you. And gradually, we want at least everybody to distribute to every person you have come in your life. Otherwise, what's the benefit that we can offer to the person? Don't think that first let's give small book, then SSR, then Bhagavad Gita, then Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada started with Bhagavatam. He went to America with Bhagavatam, not Bhagavad Gita. Somebody asked Swamiji, can you recommend some book for Bhagavad Gita? Then there was no proper Bhagavad Gita available. Then Prabhupada translated Bhagavad Gita as it is. Otherwise, he went with Bhagavatam and he kept Bhagavatam in the bookstores of America, the land of lechas and yavanas, meat eaters, women hunters, drunkards, intoxicants. But to these people, Prabhupada were distributing Bhagavatam first. Can you imagine? And what difficulty we'll have? Prabhu said, this is a whole land, Bharata, that even the great demigods want to take birth here. Even people in Satyuga live for thousands of years. Still, that is not as glorious as a life of moment in Bharata. If it's such a glorious place, then it should be easy for us to distribute Bhagavatam sets, right? Let's attempt. And let's don't think that this is a big money. People have smartphones in their pockets. That is not less than 10,000. And every member is having Bhagavatam mobile phones in their house. See, we have not distributed Bhagavatam set. That's why the mobile companies, they have occupied all the houses. We did not distribute Bhagavatam sets. All the TV companies, they occupied the other houses. We did not distribute Bhagavatam sets, and all the two-wheelers, four-wheelers, they occupied all the houses. In fact, we did not distribute Bhagavatam sets. Everybody is having a house without Bhagavatam. It's all blame on us, actually. And don't be shy or don't feel any shame that how I will ask. Okay, I'll give one simple example. Recently, I was just trying to find some app which can help me in account. So I just downloaded one app. Then I thought this is not going to help me. Let me leave it. But then because with my app, I gave my mobile number. Then that company got my mobile number. And every day I am getting 4 or 5 calls from that company. This is a very good app. Why don't you have it? Like that. This is an accounting app. So he's getting some money. Obviously, I have to pay some 7,000 or 8,000 for that app. That's a prime goal, or that's something called diamond and all. So much he will take money from me, But every day, for the last 4 days, he is calling me 3 or 4 times. With Truecaller, I'm seeing the number, I'm not even attending, but still he is calling me. See, for a useless product, for something materialistic, they are shamelessly, without shy, calling. And we have such a glorious literature called Srimad Bhagavatam, which is for the benefit, and we are not going to exploit. The person who called me, he knew that I am going to make money from this person. He's calling me for that purpose. But when we give Bhagavatam, even the opponent, he knows that he is not going to make money by giving me Bhagavatam. So we should push. We have to push. Whole world is pushing their product. Let us push our product. Our product is Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, we have chanting Mahamantra, that is also there. But you know how important Srimad Bhagavatam is. Srila Prabhupada, he gave Mahamantra, but in the night he wrote books also. He wanted these books also. In fact, without Shravana, there cannot be proper Kirtana. If you read Srimad Bhagavatam, then you can chant properly. This is why we are having class. We can simply have Kirtan and go. Why we are having class on Bhagavatam? Because this makes us perfect in our chanting. So Bhagavatam is very much important. Of course, Bhagavatam itself is perfection. Shravanam, Kirtan, all are perfection. Anything connected with Krishna is perfection. So let's take this task in our hand. Let everybody, at least by maybe another 50 days to go. If there's something there always in the digital board, I'm seeing 40, yeah, 47 days or 40, whatever days to go. So we have those much time now to offer a good score to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And everybody, let's take some sankalpa that at least from your context, definitely many are not having Bhagavatam. Everybody will be having Bhagavad Gita. Now let's push for Bhagavatam. Somehow let us push. At some point of they will purchase. I have so many experiences which I will share in maybe another class. After 6 years of speaking with my friend, finally my friend took all of Bhagavatam sets, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada Lilamrita, everything he took after 5-6 years of speaking. But still, anyway, at one point of time, we'll be able to give it. Let's start now. And I know so many people which I just came across for the first time, spoke, and they immediately took it. You do not know what will happen, but definitely this will happen. But let's attempt. And definitely, if you attempt some 100%, at least some 5-10% will be able to take it. So you keep a score in your mind that let me distribute at least there are 12 cantos of Bhagavatam. Let me distribute 12 sets Bhagavatam each person before this temple opening. So devotees agreeing? Very well. Yes. Let's attempt. Maybe Krishna's mercy we will do 25, 50 also. I have experience of devotees who after spoken they distributed 100 sets Bhagavatam and 100 sets Chaitanya Charitamrita in 1 month just with their phone contacts. We have also done, we have devotees who have done. It's possible for everybody. It's everybody. Everybody can do. Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadrama is there. Let's ask, let's get the mercy of them. Let's attempt and let's do it. This is a very good offering for the Lord. Let's give this offering to the Lord. And if you have any questions, queries, or any objections by the opponent, I'm always here. You can always ask me. And it's not that this technique will work, that technique will work. You do not know how the technique will work. It's all pure mercy of Guru and Gauranga, how it will work. We may have some technique, but it may not to the other person. But the only thing is that we have to attempt. I can simply say only this. You try to give somehow. Whatever he speaks, you don't allow him. He will give thousands of objections not to have. You should have millions of objections for him to give Bhagavatam. This much only is I can say. We do not know how books will go. It is just pure Prabhupada mercy. Prabhupada mercy you will see them. You will see the mercy of Srila Prabhupada right in you when you just make this attempt. Because whole parampara is now whole parampara will come for your help. You are trying to do something which the parampara itself is desiring that. Now, this person is now trying to do something which we as a parampara also wanted. So if you want the mercy of whole parampara, let's do it. Let's attempt it. Then you discuss with your own friends. Oh, I spoke this, I spoke that. Oh, he took it. Then there will be that. This is bodhayanta parasparam, which Krishna speaks about in Bhagavad Gita. Machitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam. You will be becoming intoxicated in hearing the scores, distributing the sets. Just today we heard that 10 sets of Bhagavatam distributed. I'm just thinking when the day will come, when every day there will be today for the pleasure of Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai, Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled Vaishnavas, we distributed 120 Bhagavatam sets. Like that, this day should come. We are eagerly waiting. And for that, everybody should do. Not it's a single person's effort. Let everybody do. Now the temple is coming. So let's take it. And I have soft copies also. There are some changes to be made there. We'll just make some changes also. Then we can go ahead with this program of distributing Bhagavatam sets with temple as a nice opportunity. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Let us all thank both the speakers. We heard the philosophy of Bhagavatam and also heard how to practice, how to put that in action also. So let us all thank both the speakers today by loudly chanting once Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I would now request Srinidhi Govind Prabhu to come over and speak something about our Janmashtami that is upcoming. There are a few very important things that you would like to hear. So I'd request Prabhuji to speak about.
Hare Krishna. Janmashtami Mahamahotsav ki. You all know Janmashtami is just at the corner. And you heard both the Prabhu speaking. You know, just because we are all sitting here, Prabhu said, because we have got Sukruti, we are sitting here. And if you take the percentage of the people who got the Sukruti in Bangalore, it is probably 0.001 or something like that. So there are quite a lot of people, lakhs together of people are waiting to get this Sukruti. How will they get the Sukruti? That Prabhu said, you have to distribute, Srimad Bhagavatam said, you have to invite them first. Because there is a big festival. When there is birthday of your small child at home, you invite hundreds and hundreds of people to your home and serve them with nice, food and everything. And you are going to cut the cake. Now the cakes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger at home also. Now, the Parama Devottama Purusha, Supreme Personality of Godhead, birthday is coming. Imagine. So, Supreme Personality of Godhead birthday, how do you want to celebrate? It has to be very, 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 very grand. Big Haribol. So for that, Sudama actually took a small quantity of avalaki, flattened rice, to meet Lord Krishna. And immediately Krishna, after serving him, snatched that and was eating very happily that avalaki, whatever he had taken it. So now there is an opportunity for all the devotees to serve lordships in a different way. Many opportunities are there. I want to put in front of you. There is, must have come to you already, Vastra Alankar, because when you make a birthday of your children at home, you will buy a lot of dresses. And now Supreme Personality of Godhead birthday is there. You have to also give a nice dress to Krishna. So to make that Vastra Alankar, it actually cost us 61,000 rupees. Is there anyone that I can get from this crowd who can sponsor the dress? One person at least? Or you can also share between two people and you can sponsor also. Anybody who can together sponsor Krishna's dress? One, two. Haribol. Haribol, Mataji there. Krishna's dress. Somebody should take. Mataji, you please stand up and give your name, Mataji, please. Name and phone number. Mataji, your name. Smita Mataji, big Haribol. Also, Mukhya Yajamana Seva. This is for the Homa, right? Okay. There are a lot of opportunities. There will be a Homa on that particular day, and Mukhya Yajamana Seva opportunities are there. And actually, what we are collecting is to make this festival very grand. And this Mukhya Yajaman Seva is 35,108. Can I get few names for this? First name, Mukhya Yajamana Seva for the Yajna. At least one name today, because we don't have much time. Not many Sundays are coming to make announcement. We have only 1 or 2 Sundays are coming, maybe 3 Sundays are coming before that. And at least one I can get Mukhya Yajaman Seva today. Yes. 35,000 Mukhya Yajamana Seva. One. Yes. Can I wait for some time? Okay. Huh? Okay, there is one devotee today for a Mukhya Yajamana Seva. Kumara Swami Prabhu. Big Haribol. Okay, he has partly sponsored for the Mukhya Yajamana Seva. But anyway, somebody else also can take partly. There's no problem. Then there is a silver Kalash Abhishek. So silver Kalash Abhishek, on that particular day, you will bathe Lord Krishna, Radha and Krishna on that particular day. It actually gives you on a smaller, and you also get silver Kalash. You also get silver Kalash, and it is 23,008. Can I get one sponsor at least today for 23,000? One sponsor for silver Kalash Abhishek. Because it's very important Krishna's appearance day that we are celebrating on that day. At least one Kalash Abhishek on that day today. Can I get a sponsor? Haribol? Yes? Okay. And there is also a copper Kalash Abhishek. You will get the copper Kalash Abhishek with you. It only costs 6,108. I should be able to get few actually today. 6,108 Kalash Abhishek. $6,000 Prabhu name. Rajat. Rajat Prabhu, Big Haribol. Phone number, Prabhu. Can I get one more Kalash Abhishek today from anybody today? Kalash Abhishek. Haribol Prabhu. Venkatesh Prabhu, a copper Kalash Abhishek. Big Haribol. One more. Copper Kalash Abhishek. One more. There, Prabhuji. Copper Kalash Abhishek. Somebody lifted hand there. Copper Kalash Abhishek. One more. Okay, we'll come back again. Okay, there is a Pushpa Alankar Seva. 5,108. For lordships, you can see the whole temple and inside the deity's room completely decorated with flowers. So it cost us 5,108. Pushpa Alankar Seva. Anybody who can today at least one or 2 Pushpa Alankar Seva? Prabhu's here. Veerabhadra Nityananda Prabhu. Hari Bol. One more. Pushpalankar Seva. Mataji side. Any Pushpalankar Seva? Okay. And it's very important. You can also sponsor, because a lot of people are coming. You can also sponsor prasadam. And you can see tens and thousands of people are coming. And Annadana Seva. That's very important. And this is a Purushottam Adhikamas. Purushottama Adhikamas, if you give for Annadana Seva, is very, very beneficial for the devotees. So there is 100 people Annadana Seva is only 10,108. So this is the Purushottama Adhikamas and 10,108. Prabhuji there, lifted hand. Prabhuji. Gandharvika Devi Dasi. Hari Bol. 10,108. One more Mataji there. One more Mataji. Annadana Seva. Purushottama Adhikamas. You are actually distributing prasadam. Can I get one more? Only 100 people are done because thousands of people are coming on that day. We should be able to get all tens and thousands of people Annadana Seva. So please come prepared next week. We will continue this. And there is also Annadana Seva for 50 devotees, 5,108. Can I get at least 5 or 6 today? 5,108. Prabhuji there. Prabhu, your name? Shivarama Krishna Prabhu for 50 people, Annadana Seva today. Big Haribol. Take his number. Can I get at least 4 more today? 50 people Annadana Seva. Mataji's side. Okay, there is one more Seva, Rajabhog Seva. Rajbhog is offered in the afternoon at 12:15, and that is only 3,108. There are many people can sponsor to this. Rajbhog Seva is this Seva directly, this Bhoga is offered directly to Lordships. So 3,108. Okay, there is a copper Kalash Abhishek. We have one more. Jai Dev Prabhu. Big Haribol. So this particular list has been sent to you, and there is a counter at the entrance. So devotees can just, those who are interested later can go and give donation, and then you can commit yourself. You can make a payment before Janmashtami, no problem. You don't have to make you can only make a commitment today. Okay, thank you very much. Hari Bol. Janmashtami Maha Mahotsav ki. Okay, one more second. There are donation books are available, and if you want to collect donations from your friends, from your colleagues at work, from neighbors at home, you can collect the book and collect the fund for the temple. So it's very important for the Janmashtami, and these books are available in accounts department, and you can collect them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Just 5 more minutes. We have some devotees who have sponsored Prasadam and are requesting prayers. So we have, do we have Nilanjana Chatterjee and Prince Chatterjee here? They have sponsored Prasadam. We have Vishaka Chinmaya and Raghu SR who have sponsored Prasadam. We also Keshavar Prabhu has also sponsored Prasadam. He's saying my mother is part sponsoring today's Prasadam as a mark of gratitude to all devotees who prayed for her recovery. She had a stroke recently. So all these devotees are requesting prayers. So let us all chant once Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We also have the Children's Kirtan Utsav that is on 15th August from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. So please all it's a holiday, so please participate and encourage this wonderful devotees kids. And those are all participating Bhakti IDC exam. It will be at 11:15 in the new temple Bhakti Shastri Hall. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. We will proceed downstairs.